If you want to opt out of NHS Digital collecting your data and sharing your data with third parties, then this video will explain how that works. But first of all, if you're new to me, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon. That allows you to receive new videos as I release them. Just a couple of things before we get going. Firstly, I'm talking about England in this video, and it may be different in other areas. Secondly, I wanted to talk for a moment about the balance between the need to collect data for research purposes against the rights and the freedoms of individuals to have a say and to make a choice in how and when that data is collected. I've been reading lots of the many hundreds of comments that were left on my video yesterday, and by far the biggest complaint is that not many people actually knew that this was happening or felt that they were given a choice before it was going to happen. For example, I for one might have felt quite differently about the situation had I been given a form beforehand with a list of different bits of information and asked which of those that I would be happy to share. Pushing the need and the purpose of collecting medical data to one side for the moment, to me, the principle of collecting and sharing medical data is no different than website tracking cookies that now require visitor consent under GDPR. For those that are still not familiar with website tracking cookies, they are a small file that gets generated when you visit a website that collects and potentially shares your browsing and possibly other data with other third parties. And in order to achieve GDPR compliance, that's General Data Protection Regulations, website owners must seek consent of the visitor to A, collect the data, and B, how and if they share that data. And I'm sure most of us are familiar by now with the little boxes that pop up to say, are you okay with us collecting data, and are you okay with us sharing that data? Some of the more sophisticated ones allow you to select a list of what data they collect and with whom they share it. And some websites don't even allow you to view the content until you've submitted that declaration. So again, there is the balanced argument. On the one hand, there is the need to collect and to share medical data with research organisations to whom we owe a debt of gratitude for finding cures to diseases, not least of which for some of the most deadly and serious illnesses and conditions of our time. But on the other hand, just like lots of people were very angry about their browsing data being shared with third parties, it's very understandable that people are angry about their NHS data being shared with third parties unless they opt out. And as I said in my video yesterday, it is an opt-out. So you are in the data sharing program unless you opt out. So just to be clear, and I don't often offer my personal views, as I said yesterday, my personal views have no bearing on professional advice. But on the one hand, whilst I don't object entirely to third parties having access to medical data, of course, it's necessary to tackle and cure diseases. But on the other hand, I do feel that there are better ways that this could have been rolled out. For example, giving you a list of separate pieces of information, asking you to select which information or data that you are happy to share and with whom you are happy to share it. Instead, I might go as far as saying that the way it's been done is detrimental to the objectives because it's effectively left you with one choice, and that is to opt out entirely. So with that said, if you do want to opt out, here's how you do it. There are essentially two ways to opt out. The first is called a Type 1 opt-out. This has been available since 2013, and you must do it with your GP. A Type 1 opt-out essentially stops your data from being collected in the first place. If you've already completed a Type 1 opt-out, you don't need to do it again. But if you haven't done it, you're urged to do it by the 23rd of June 2021, because your data will start to be shared from the 1st of July 2021. You can opt out later, but from my understanding, any data that's already been collected and shared will continue to be shared, but no further information will be collected. This page here, which is linked in the description, you'll need to scroll down to the section here that says opting out of NHS Digital collecting your data, Type 1 opt-out. You click that and then you get this section here, and you want this part here, which says if you wish to register a Type 1 opt-out with your GP, do it by the 23rd of June and you return this form. So if you click this link here, it'll download a form. This is a Word document that you can open and then print and complete your personal details here. If you are a parent or legal guardian, obviously you put your details here and the child up here if your child is under 13. Then you come to the opt-out preferences. Now, don't be fooled by the wording here. This one says here, withdraw, opt-out. Withdraw makes it sound like you're coming out of the scheme, but this is actually withdraw your opt-out. In other words, you're opting in. So if you want to opt out, it's this box here that you're going to select. Then you sign it and return it to your GP. The second way to opt out is called a national data opt-out. The link's in the description. You'll need your name, your NHS number, and your date of birth. You need this website here. Again, the link is in the description. As it says, you'll need your name, date of birth, and your postcode or your NHS number. If you don't have your NHS number, they should be able to find you by the postcode. Make sure it's formatted properly, putting the space in the appropriate place. You will click continue, complete your name, and go through the process on this page, and then select opt out when you get to the appropriate page. Do bear in mind that if you want to opt out a child under the age of 13, you cannot do this online and you must use a manual form, which I've linked in the description below. And you must email it to the email address on screen now, which I also put in the description below. If you only complete the national data opt-out, then NHS Digital will still collect your data and use it internally, but they won't be able to share it with other third parties. For example, university research labs and pharmaceutical companies. And before I leave you, just two more things I'd like to mention. Firstly, thank you to the hundreds of you that have signed the petition on change.org. The link's in the description. This is essentially to push for a change to make this an informed consent requirement rather than just to roll it out and make it an opt-out as it currently is. And secondly, and just to make this absolutely clear, there are no fees to opt out. As usual, in any situation like this, I've heard of websites popping up asking you for a fee, trying to scare you with the prospect of sharing your data, and asking you for a fee to assist you in opting out. Opting out, if you choose to do so, is completely free. You can do it at the link in the description, so please don't fall victim to any of these scams. I did a whole video on scams that you might like to watch. I'll put it in a card now. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.